I'd like to speak for just a moment about passion as a principle for eliminating excuses. Create for yourself the habit of enthusiasm about everything. When I watched the interview with Felipe, who was the guy who was the man on wire, he said, you have to have passion every single day. And what does the word enthusiasm mean? Entheos, God. Yasm, within, in Greek, the God within. That's the meaning of, when you have passion for anything inside of you, you are really, that's God speaking to you. If you have total passion for something and you just won't let go of it, regardless of what the circumstances of your life are, you will find a way. The universe will provide you with a way. The strange synchronistic experiences and serendipities that seem to show up, they show up much more frequently and right on time when you're living from a place of passion. No passion? Continue with your excuses. Passion is the creative source inside of you. Walk with it. I do it every day. Hold hands with it. Make it your number one relationship in life, not to your spouse, not to your children, not even to yourself. Make your number one relationship to your source, to God, to that place from which you return, to which all things return. Live from a place of passion, and you will be guided. Those principles that I've just spoken briefly about, alignment, passion, willingness, they're all exemplified in someone that I'd like to introduce to America. His name is Dan Caro, C-A-R-O, Dan Caro. He was born in 1979. And on St. Patrick's Day in 1982, on March the 17th, he was out in his backyard. He's from New Orleans, Louisiana. His mom was watching him, and he scooted off just for a second into the garage. And in the garage, there was a can of gasoline, and he tipped it over, and there was a hot water heater in there with a flame, a pilot, and it exploded. It was a flash fire, and this little 2-year-old boy was burned over 75 to 80% of his body. He was just awash in fire. His mother ran in fact, his mother and father are both here this evening, and flew here for this program. And I heard about Dan from my dear sweet friend Tiffany, who also is from New Orleans, and she said she had met this young man and he just really made an impact on her. And over the next course of the next 12 or 14 years, he underwent 80-plus surgeries at the Shriner Hospital up in Massachusetts. When they wrapped him up, and they have to wrap them, and when they unwrapped his hand fell off. And when they unwrapped his other hand, his fingers and his hand fell off. And when they unwrapped his feet, after all of this therapy and all of his toes fell off. He was scarred from head to toe, burnt, and no one even anticipated that he would survive. But there's something inside Dan Caro that exemplifies the excuses begone life that I'm speaking about here in this program. Music is in his life. His father loved music. He's from New Orleans, city of jazz. He always envisioned himself as a musician, and yet he was hopelessly burned, and everyone thought that he probably wouldn't even live to be 3 or 4. But there was something inside of Dan, that compassion, that passion, that willingness, that desire to make something more of himself. He wanted to be a musician more than anything. Music was in his soul, even when he was 2 years old, and I've seen pictures of that beautiful little 2-year-old boy. And, well, he not only became a musician, but he was written up in a journal called Modern Drummer. He became a drummer without any hands. Try to imagine that. Not only did he become a drummer, but he became a very well-known drummer, playing in very significant bands across the South. At Loyola University, he was in the jazz band. And he had to do it by eliminating all of the excuses.